Just lying here on the floor, cold towels, my feet against the door. How long have I been in this space? Arms over eyes, help me retrace. How did I become the doormat here? Memories spinning around my head seem pretty cavalier. Little by little you take control. It's a little uncivil how your game's emotional. And I don't even notice that I'm playing your game. Do you leave me a warning thinking I'm the one to blame? From my heart has made it pretty clear. Little by little you take control. It's a little uncivil how your game's emotional. And I don't even notice that I'm playing your game. Do you leave me warning thinking I'm the one to
You want to make your fantasy sports league more than a fantasy? Hold my baby. Mike! Then you need Trophy Smack.
It's the #1 store for fantasy and tournament trophies, belts, draft boards, loser awards, and other ridiculous products. Click the link and get free shipping.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Saturday evening. It has been a while. Last week, we had an incredible race. We are still trying to catch our breath from it, where that Brian Johnson found himself winning the beginning of the season at Daytona. And now we head from a track that the majority of people would say everyone's got a chance to win to a tough one, to Texas Motor Speedway is tonight's destination for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Big thanks to Roasted Gems for being the sponsor, and as well to Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack, one of the best places to go if you want to find yourself getting trophies, such as trophies, championship belts, rings, and more. Go head over to that at Trophy Smack today to get yourself set up with a trophy. As well as we got to give big thanks to one of the other sponsors that are going to be helping us here tonight, such as the title sponsor of Roasted Gems Coffee. Go to roastedgems.com and go use the promo code WSSR if you want some great premium coffee today. They get new flavors, I think, almost every 2 to 3 months. Go check them out. Great quality coffee to wake you up and get you ready for your day to come. As it is time for us to be here at Texas on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Trevor Earhart. Trevor, we are here at Texas with that of the Gen 6 Cup cars, and it should be a fun night here tonight.
Yeah, the track everybody loves to hate in Texas Motor Speedway with its interestingly designed turns 1 and 2 here tonight. And the cars, Sam, judging on practice, look to be a handful. This could be a very entertaining race with how snappy these cars are getting on them.
Yeah, that is something that the drivers are notifying for themselves. Right before last week's start of the season, they actually had recruitment races, and Texas was one of those recruitment races, and they realized very quickly that this car can get out of control quickly. The main name of the game tonight going to be patience and making sure the tires stay underneath you. Those are going to be the big factors to watch out for here this evening. And as well, new names, but same place that we've seen them before. Here, this on top of the board, it's the 67 of Larry Yingling coming back to race for the WSSR. We've been praising about that of Vincent Sora the last 2 seasons. He's won the last 2 championships, and he's the driver that we had circled as the one to watch out to go 3 times in a row. Well, the 67 might have a different say, as here that of Larry Yingling is a driver that was the original 2-time champ here for the WSSR, and he wants to get his 3rd championship. And Trevor, I gotta say, this is gonna spice things up due to the fact that now we have 2 2-time champs.
Yeah, 2-time champs, and Larry coming back. This could get really interesting for Vincent Sora, who didn't have the best of races last week at Daytona, got caught up in a wreck, didn't finish, so behind the 8 ball a little bit. With Brian Johnson getting the win, so that allows Larry to come in, even missing Daytona, to have a shot at possibly getting up there and battling for the points championship later in the season.
And to make the championship, a lot of these drivers going to be hoping to make it here based off a win. And the driver that won last week, that of Brian Johnson, feeling good for himself. Going to see how that 28, currently 9th on the board, how he's going to be able to transition moving forward. As on screen, you're seeing that Steven Stimpian in the 81. Trevor, we had last week that of Daytona. It was, you could say, that of the late Apex show for the majority of the race. But this 81 machine wanted to be one of those drivers that could shake things up. It certainly was up there for majority of that race.
Yeah, did a really good job up front last week at Daytona, but those late Apex guys were hard to get around, and then Calamity on the backstretch on the last lap kind of shook things up from what we thought was going to be the finishing order. But Stimpian, one of those drivers you can never count out, Sam. Usually really quick. The question is, can he keep the car underneath him week in and week out? We'll have to find out tonight. Stimpian, one of those guys to watch out for here tonight at Texas.
The driver that finished 3rd last week, currently 2nd on the board, Tom Sinchek in that 8 machine, also a driver to watch out for, looking for that win for himself. Felt like it was an opportunity thrown away last week, and he's had plenty of chances. Will it carry forward? As you also see on our top left on our ticker board, that is going to be practice time ticking away. When that clock hits 0, these drivers are going to be heading into qualifying, where they're going to have 2 laps to put down their fastest time. And if they do not put those 2 laps down within a 5-minute window, they're going to be stuck with whatever time they're given, or they'll be set on based off their iRating number on iRacing. As the clock hits 0 here at Texas, Trevor, what are going to be the keys for these drivers as we're getting ourselves prepared for qualifying?
I think the key is going to get a good qualifying position, just based off of how hard it can be to pass at some of these 1.5-mile tracks, especially Texas, with the difficulty of 1 and 2. Track position is going to be key for these drivers. And then once we get into the race, saving your equipment is going to be the other key to this race. I know we talk about it week in and week out, but especially here with how these cars handle, those that can save the tires the best, I think, are going to have the best chance to get a win.
And get a win, like you said, could start out here at qualifying. Want that best track position possible, as Steven Stimpian going to be hitting the course right now. Again, the driver's going to have 5 minutes to put down their fastest time, and as well, it looks to be, based off the numbers we were given, lap 2 should be the money lap to watch out for. But again, this first lap could be impactful on where you set if you make a mistake on that second lap.
Yeah, you're definitely the second lap. be the quickest one as you get the heat built up in the tires on the first lap, but you want to get a first lap in just in case you push a little bit too hard, get a little loose, make a mistake on that second lap. Definitely want to have that first lap to fall back on. As Stimpy in here going through 3 and 4, not quite down to the white line, kind of a little bit above it, trying to carry as much speed as he can to come to start his lap.
As coming through that quad oval, going to be this 81 across the line. First lap, going to be the first driver to put down their lap, and it's going to be Steven Stimpy and Matt Staden, who's going to be there waiting to see how well they're going to be holding up for the 16, who's continuing to fall down on the leaderboard. A slow first lap doesn't mean the second lap's going to be slow. Sometimes it can be even faster. Steven Stimpian, so far, the fastest of the first lap drivers. He's going to stick it down, try to hold that white line up the exit of the corner, the 81, hoping to keep the pole and best his first lap. He's going to best it, but will it stand is going to be the true question. For now, it does, as here comes the rest of the field putting down their third lap, and he'll hold on for now, but Steven Stimpian, a strong qualifying run for the 81.
Good laps there for Stimpy and currently provisional pole, but Vincent Sora now top of the board with a 29.75, but here's the man that was quickest in practice by about that of a tenth over everybody else, Larry Yingling. First lap, not that great though, all the way down there in that of about 23rd position for Larry on his first lap, so he's looking for a big pickup here on his second lap, halfway down the backstretch.
And he was almost painting that white line through 1 and 2. How will 3 and 4 look as he's going to be throwing it down, giving off just a couple of feet, but keeping it closer to the white line than I've seen any other driver. Larry Yingling, he might have the slowest first lap than anyone else, but this second lap across the line, where will he be placed? It's going to be 7th for that of the 67, as Vincent Sora talked about, hey, maybe he had some woes based off those practice times to shake off the rust. The 15 is where he has been the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, Vinny looking really good there. Not the quickest in practice, but just going to show you practice times don't always necessarily translate into qualifying and race pace. So Vincent looking really good right now. Christopher Norris, the man who finished second last week in dramatic fashion with his battle with Tom Sinchek coming across the line to complete his first lap. See where that's going to put the 38 machine, or might be starting his first lap here going into turn number 1.
Actually, that's going to finish out his qualifying. He'll be 20th on the board for that 38. Here comes a driver who's just running some laps. He's already finished out qualifying. That's going to be James Kaufman, 25, just trying to get more experience as drivers have the ability to continue to just run laps after they finish out their qualifying time, as the last driver looks to be trying to put a lap time in. It's this 13. It's Cedric Hunter, as that it looks like is Stu McDonald, Bob Skinner, Rich Jameson, and also that of James Hackworth Jr. Not showing any signs that they want to get out there to put down a qualifying time as the 13 gets through the warm-up, and let's start lap number 1.
Yeah, and Cedric, a late entry here tonight, didn't get, I don't believe, got any practice time in that 13 machine. So coming out here, we're using qualifying as his practice and see what the pink number 13 machine can do down here in 1 and 2. Not quite to the bottom line like we saw the 67 of Larry Yingling, kind of electing to run that middle line, build up a little bit of speed here down the backstretch for himself.
And it's just this first lap. Like we said, second lap has been the faster lap of the 2, as he's going to run the middle to high lane. And here we go. Trevor, he's building up that speed, but there's the wiggle. That could be costly now, trying to get the speed on the straightaway.
Yeah, that could really hurt him here down the front straightaway. That little bit of a wiggle in 3 and 4, but using a little bit of an aggressive approach there through 3 and 4, trying to use that middle line to keep the momentum built up in the race car. Have to see if it works out. Right now, first lap all the way down in 28th position for his first lap. But the second lap, Sam, this is where he's got to make it count.
And it's a race on the clock. 10 seconds left in qualifying, as that of Cedric Hunter. If he does not cross the line in the next 5 seconds, this lap will not count. He was putting himself on the edge in 1 second of line, and across the line he doesn't hit. It was 100 yards away.
So close, so far away for Cedric Hunter. That's going to put him, Sam, all the way down there in 28th position. That 13 machine has a lot of work ahead of him here tonight.
Threw it out there. It matters on that first lap just as much as the second lap, and now we'll see how the 13 is going to carve his way through this large field we have here tonight, as Drivers are done with qualifying. Let's take a look at that of the qualifying results, sponsored by Collie's mom. Collie's mom was very proud of her son. That of last week, well, this week might be a different story, as her son will not get the pole award. It's going to go to the two-time champ of Vincent Sora, as well to his outside teammate Brian P. Johnson in the 28 machine in second place. Steven Snippian going to be in third with Tom Sinchek in fourth. Zach Hull going to be in fifth. That's where we find Brandon Colley in sixth position for the one machine. Yari Yingling coming back to try to defend for a championship, get his third in his career. Got to be starting in seventh. That of Brad Delph in eighth. Ninth goes to that of Tyler Conroy, and Jamie Dunning's going to be taking that 10th place position.
Sean McCafferty will roll off in 11th with David Medina on his outside in 12th. Thomas Walter in 13th with Kyle Rochelle in 14th. Aaron Krolick 15th with Ryan Bird in 16th. James Binding 17th with Matt Stetton in 18th. And Dakota Moniz 19th, and Christopher Norris will round out our top 20.
In 21st position, you've seen him in other leagues that we cover throughout the week. It's going to be the 9 machine of Ed Perry with Jonathan Cogswell going to be in 22nd position. Jeff Gilmore going to be in 23rd with that of Christopher Howell in 24th. Andy Reeves going to be in 25th. 26th goes to that of Chad Malik with James Kaufman in 27th. That of Cedric Hunter going to be in that of 13th, as we are going to be seeing that of Cedric Hunter be the last driver with a timed lap. The rest of the drivers will be placed on their I ratings, with that of Steve McDonald going to be getting 29th. 30th goes to Rich Jameson. Bob Skinner gets 31st, and James Hackworth Jr. going to take the 32nd position. 32 drivers here tonight, and Trevor, 150 laps here this evening, 0 fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And with what I've been hearing from the drivers, they might wish that they had maybe a couple of more sets in pit road to work with.
A couple more sets probably that they want to work with, and no guaranteed cautions here tonight, Sam. No stage break for these drivers to come down, reset, and assess, kind of how they were driving there. So we're going to have to learn on the fly, going to have to make these pit stops. And green flag pit stops here at Texas can be quite difficult with getting down off of turn number 4 down pit road and then getting back on the racetrack with how flat 1 and 2 is. So if we get to green flag pit stops, that could really change things up.
Those green flag pit stops certainly can do so, as well as the drivers right now pacing. And at this time, you're starting to see it, Trevor, the sun setting. This could be a factor that could help out these drivers because the track is very cool at this moment. Ambient temperature going to be 70 degrees. Track temp going to be 71. Now, there's a little bit of a breeze. Now it's 9 miles per hour going south, but it is going to get darker and darker as the race goes on. The lights will click at some point here tonight, which is going to allow these drivers to have a little bit of extra grip to work with. And how much can that help? Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson going to be up front. The teammates expecting a good restart here, as it's going to be 150 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. This course has been more so on the side of drivers' unfortunes, but how well can they handle for 150 laps? Let's find out. It's race number 2 of season 6 for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, and we are green as they head down into turn number 1.
It's Sora trying to get clear of the 28 of Brian Johnson. Johnson getting a little bit of a push there from the 8 of Tom Sinchek into turn number 1. They're going to be side by side as Sinchek clears the 81 of Stympian, but Stympian might have a run on him out of turn number 2, but it's Johnson trying to hold tight on the outside of Vincent Sora, but Sora's going to clear him down the back straightaway.
Going to clear, not able to fully go up onto the track. He'll stay on more of a shallow entry into turn numbers 3 and 4, and that's where you want to be, is low and close to that white line. We saw Cedric Hunter during qualifying. That middle groove can get out of hand quickly. As we come across the line, Vincent Sora takes the pole and takes lap number 1 for the 15 machine, as the rest of the field still side by side through 3 and 4. And even for the lead, Brian Johnson powers on the outside to take the lead position for himself.
Yeah, Brian Johnson just with a power move through 1 and 2, stay to the outside of Vincent Sora, drives right around him, and then here in 3 and 4 takes a little bit of an arc down to the bottom, but clears Vincent, keeps it cleared. Stimpy now up to 3rd. Sinchek a little bit loose in his battle with the 42 of Zach Hall. That's a battle for 4th. Zach trying to get that position with Larry Yingling just lurking behind him, trying to figure out which line he wants to go with.
Larry Yingling came in and was being talked to come race back with this season. We got some fast drivers for season 6. He hasn't been in with the WSSR since that of season 4 in the 67. Looking to get right back to where he was in pacing as he is riding low, trying to hit his own marks. But this is the first time we're going to get sights of the 67 as up into the wall. It's going to be the 8th machine of Tom Sinchek. Should be all right as we don't see any toe link damage. Because Trevor, these vehicles are a tank when they take damage.
Yeah, they are a tank, but you still got to be careful with hitting the wall because you can hit it just right and still break a toe link but not do a lot of damage to the bodywork. So Sinchek looks like he comes off unscathed, and thankfully with how tanky these are, not going to really hurt him with a little bit of damage that he may have, but he is under pressure now from the 48 of Tyler Conroy. That 8 machine, Sam, just in that outside line, struggling as he continues to fall back.
The more that you're on that outside lane, the more you're using up tires as we are on the start of lap number 5. This was the lap that drivers were concerned. If you were being overly aggressive and not pacing yourselves on conserving your tires, this is the moment that we could start to see drivers get extremely loose out of turn number 2. So we got to keep our eyes on that as this run continues on who's going to be able to save those tires and who's not. As you see that of Ryan Bird trying to hold on as he's getting pressured back there for that of 12th place.
Yeah, it's a battle in front of him. Dunning, McCafferty, and the 17. They're side by side. Bird drove around the outside of the 3 of David Medina there as he tries to figure out where he wants to go. McCafferty trying to hold strong on that outside line, Sam, but these cars starting to wiggle a little bit. And here comes the 3 with a little bit of a look to the inside of the 48, but thinks better of it down in 3 and 4.
This is going to be the 3 machine of David Medina Sr. trying to set up as he is currently in a kind of getting squeezed by the late Apex drivers. All 3 Apex drivers in that camera shot. Currently the leader of them going to be Thompson, check Ryan Bird in the middle, and then it's going to be Kyle Rochelle that's in the back. As you're seeing more drivers going to be 3 wide in front of this camera shot. They're going to be almost stacked 3 wide again as it's Ryan Bird, Tom Sinchek in the 17 of McCafferty just powering as the 17. That outside lane doesn't look to be slowing him down at all.
Doesn't look to be slowing him down. It was Dunning who got a little bit of loose, and then Bird gets a little loose on the bottom that kind of got up into the side of Sinchek. Kind of stacked everybody up, and now they're almost 3 wide behind him. Here comes the 04 of Thomas Walter looking to the outside of the 49 of Ryan Bird as he struggles a little bit on corner exit. And Walter being followed, by the 16 there of Matt Stetton, who's also using that outside line. So Sam, that outside line, especially in 1 and 2, looks like it might be usable here.
It might be usable for now, but not for many more laps. As you saw there, the 17 got extremely loose out of the corner. If you're using this outside lane in the aggressive manner that we're seeing by some of these drivers, it is putting a little bit of a worrisome feeling in my mind of who is going to hold on or when are we going to see someone get loose. As we're riding on board the 16 machine, a Staten who's just going to be trying his best to hold on. Watch those hands as you saw there. It is a handful out of the corner, and it's only going to get worse from here. And we're only on lap 9, Trevor. This is usually at other tracks when we're on lap 20, 25 that we start to see this handful of a machine.
Yeah, the weird thing here at Texas is you're so slow through 1 and 2 that it just, for some reason, it gets loose no matter what you do. And in 3 and 4, you can be almost flat out in these cars. It's a little bit of a lift to get to the bottom of the racetrack. They just get so loose on you, and even with the track being cool and having the grip that it has, you're not building heat into the tires. And so these cars are just going to be slipping and sliding all night long. We've just seen perfect examples of it here tonight already.
And also someone who's on the move. You're already seeing the pink machine. That's Cedric Hunter, up 12 spots from this drop the green.
Yeah, Cedric not wasting any time moving up, but doing it on the bottom of the racetrack, not going to the top, not putting a lot of stress on his tires, trying to work through the field, being followed by the 01 of Aaron Kralik as well. As Kralik's falling back a little bit, but Cedric slowly working his way through the field here, and now he's got the trio of the late Apex drivers right in front of him.
And it finally broke. The 17 just got way too loose out of turn number 2. McCafferty got to be careful here because now he's going to have some late Apex drivers surrounding him. And the 17 is even loose out of 4. It is dangerous and almost contact with the 13 there as drivers trying to avoid that of McCafferty. And the 17 is going to wish that he had a couple of more sets of tires to work with because this is going to be a struggle from here on out.
Oh, as he gets loose down on the apron.
Oh, and so did the 16. Woo, they're holding on. As all those drivers, I mean, Trevor, those are all the drivers that are just on the outside those last couple of laps.
They were, and McCafferty, Sam, at one point drove up to 5th. I mean, he was to the outside of Zach Hall one time when I looked up, and then now all the way back down here into that of about 20th, 23rd place for the 17 machine, just showing you how quickly he wore those tires out, and now he's got to struggle until we get to green flag pit stops or until they get a caution.
And Will a caution come out, or could we stay clean and green? Like you said, there are no stage breaks, but into the outside wall. Going to be seeing contact, as that is going to be seeing the 4, the 57, and also the 25 into the outside wall. Hard contact, and it's going to be seeing the driver low, slow. That's going to be the 4 machine of Andy Reeves. That has to go into pit road. Required damage flag thrown at the 4.
Yeah, not sure what happened there to Andy Reeves, but might have been a situation where the car just broke loose, came up into the wall, collected somebody, and saying that looks like a broken toe link for the 4 machine, so it's going to be extended time on pit road for himself. But we stay green, and back up front, it's Brian Johnson, Stimpy, and Larry Yingling all the way up. And just moved himself up to 3rd, and Vincent Sora, our pole sitter, back down to 4th.
And I rewatched that incident. It was the 57 of Jeff Gilmore getting loose underneath the 4, overcorrected, came back up into that of the 4 of Reeves, nowhere to go for himself, as well as nowhere to go for James Kaufman, who ran right into the rear ends of both of those drivers. It's the 4 that gets the brunt of it, and he will be in pit road for quite a while trying to get those repairs done as the battling for 4th is underway.
Yeah, Vincent Sora got around the 67 of Yingling. Now Zach Hall in the 42 is going to follow suit, and that's going to open the door as well for the 1 of Brandon Colley to get by. And just drivers up front not looking comfortable in that outside line, maybe deciding, hey, I don't need to pressure, or I don't need to be aggressive here on the outside, just let a couple cars go, fall back in line, and save the tires that they can. But Larry losing 3 spots there in just a matter of a turn and a half.
Losing spots quickly, and even drivers further in the field are vocal over the radio of how they are kind of spooking themselves, as we're going to have a lot of our oohs and ahs of drivers getting loose and holding on and saving. Even drivers in the cockpits are over the radios ooh and ahhing when they have a save themselves, or they're seeing someone else do an incredible save, as we see that of Cedric Hunter again. Missed out on trying to get that 2nd lap in for qualifying. He qualified all the way back in 28th position, up to 16, but now it's kind of stalled out. Everyone's now starting to feel the struggle, not even really move forward. Is the 13, as you're seeing the 04, Thomas Walter, and the 3, as well as David Medina Sr. running with one another here.
Yeah, Cedric trying to use that middle line through 3 and 4, get a little bit of a run there on Thomas Walter, but just stacked up behind the 3 of Medina there on the front stretch. Nowhere for him to go, but he's going to use that outside line in 1 and 2, and kind of the line that nobody really thinks is viable as Cedric gets loose on the corner exit, but holds on to it. Completes his pass on Thomas and Walter, but big moment for Cedric at turn number 2.
Yeah, we were also keeping our cameras on the 27 Cogswell, because the lap before he was getting extremely loose and out of sorts, as he'll be holding on for now. But we also have to move back up front, because Brian Johnson pulled away to over a 2nd lead, and as you can see now, it is gone. It is now only a 3-car length lead over that of Steven Stimpian. Stimpian is looking quick, and as well, starting to see some other passes going on, as you see that of the 81. Camera is on, and he is challenging, but he's got to be careful as Vincent Sora is now on the back bumper trying to loosen in that rear end.
Yeah, Sora's caught up, but Stimpian with a great run. Johnson a little bit loose out of turn number 4. That's going to allow Stimpian to get by, bring the 15 of Vincent Sora with him. Brian Johnson going to try to hold on here on the outside of turn number 1 and 2. Not sure if he's going to be able to get the power down, though. It looks like he might. Vincent Sora a little bit of a wiggle, but Sora's going to clear the 28 as well, and those 2 now up to 1st and 2nd. And Brian Johnson back to 3rd and under pressure here from the 1 of Brandon Colley.
And Colley is trying to make his way forward. Colley again qualified 6th. He's up 2 positions, same as Steven Stimpian. And drivers in the middle half of the field, there have been a couple struggling, in the 16 who we saw earlier getting into some almost a major contact earlier with how loose he was getting. The 16 is our first official DNF. He is out of this race, and also for the 4 of that of Andy Reeves might be out of this and into pit road. The tires are 2 gone. Going to be that of Tyler Conroy into pit road. We're only on lap 21, and we're seeing some drivers fading back, such as that of our former leader of Brian P. Johnson. And now, Trevor, we're seeing drivers out of this race or already taking their first set of 4 tires that are in pit road.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, 150 laps here, Sam. Only, I believe, 4 extra sets of tires tonight. So you're coming on pit road on lap 21 to take your first set of tires. Quickly going to run out of tires by the end of the night. And if there's a late race caution, you can really be in some trouble.
It really could be, as we see here, the battle for 5th place. It's that of Brandon Colley, Larry Yingling going to be on one another, as the 67 being patient, making his way forward. And we drop back to that of going to be for 11th place. The battle between the 3 and the 54 of Jamie Lee Dunning, and the 54 machine going to be staying high and getting out of the way as David Medina makes the pass for the 3 machine.
And Medina's slowly been working his way through the field. Right behind him, the 13 of Cedric Hunter kind of been following one another as they work their way through the field. Dunning just was inside the top 10, hanging on the best he could, was having a really good opening stint for himself, but now starting to look like that 54 machine. Struggling here a little bit as he's falling back to that of 11th place and about to come under pressure from the 21, Kyle Rochelle.
As these drivers 24 laps in and fall back to 17th place as we're finding that we're going to fall back to that of the 82 machine of Bob Skinner. Bob Skinner right now running in 21st position, on his own race at the moment as he's got Chad Malik behind him, and we got very much 3 different stories going on. We got the drivers that were pushing very aggressively. They've already fallen back. You got drivers such as Bob Skinner that are kind of just running their own race, and then those that are up front pushing and being aggressive, and one driver too aggressive. It's that of Kyle Rochelle hitting pit road. Major right side damage for the 21.
I'm not sure what happened to Kyle. I mean, we were just talking about him. Was up there battling with Jamie Lee Dunning for 13th position. Now the 21 on pit road for early pit stop here for possible damage, Sam.
And went back and looked. It was exit of turn 2. That seems to be the trouble spot for a lot of drivers. Overcorrected, sent it into the outside wall. Too much damage where he just did not feel confident. And into pit road is where he is sending himself. Another driver that's going to be over the radio coming to pit road. It's the 17, McCafferty, who's going to be setting himself into that position. But when you see the battling for the lead position, top 3, all within about a half a second of one another. It's the 81 is Steven Stimpian, Vincent Sora, Zach Hall. And trying to close in is going to be Larry Yingling as the 42 saw the mistake by the 15, says thank you very much, I'll take that, as they come across the line.
Yeah, Vincent Sora with a great save, had his hands full on the exit of turn number 4, caught the apron a little bit, and that really upset that 15 machine and sent him up the racetrack, but great job hanging on to it. Loses that position to Zach Hall, but now can catch his breath and try to gather himself back and try to run that 42 back down. He was catching our leader, though, of Steven Stimpian, so 15 has the speed, but question, does he still have the tires to get back up there and pass both those drivers?
I just don't know at this point. I mean, it's kind of, usually when we're at these other mile-and-a-half tracks, it's kind of a maybe take 2-3 laps, don't push as aggressively, and you can try to save your tires, cool them off. Vincent Sora, very aggressive, 1 and 2 there. He's right on the back bumper. And if you're that close to someone, Trevor, you're banking on the driver ahead of you not to make a mistake, as there's a very aggressive dive bomb move for the 15, trying to get underneath Zach Hall. Hall, just a groove higher. Expected to have the better launch out of the corner, but Vincent Sora wants to get aggressive right now for the 15, even though he had that scare just a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, just showing that he's not afraid to still push the car even after a big wiggle for himself, trying to be aggressive. Zach Hall did a really good job defending 3 and 4, kind of used that second line to his advantage to carry more momentum off the corner for himself and pull away a little bit from that 15 machine, who Sam might come under pressure from the 67 of Larry Yingling again as the Yingling starting to close in on this battle for second.
I mean, I'm looking at the lap times. Larry Yingling has just been patiently running his own race, and he's about 0.2 faster the lap before that. He was a little bit slower this go around as the top 3 really put on their burners, but that could be hurting them on the long run, as the 67 has just been patiently running his own race and saying, hey, this race is going to come to me. It's going to be based on how aggressive and how willing the rest of the field is going to be pushing those tires, as we're 30 laps in over 150. Still plenty of racing to go on, and also, Trevor, pit stops might be something to think about here in the next 20 laps.
Yeah, pit stop's going to be closing in, like you said, the next 20 laps or so, and that could really shake things up front. I mean, it was a story pretty much every week last season when we got to green flag pit stops. Somebody up front, one of the front runners, would make a mistake. Is it going to be that case? Is it going to be that way this season? We'll have to find out. Pit stops right around the corner, Sam, and they can always change the running order up.
They certainly can, as we hop on board with that of the Roasted Gems coffee machine, the pink 13 of Cedric Hunter in 11th place, as he's gotten by the 2 dueling drivers of David Medina and Jamie Dunning. Going to be 11-13, try to put some pressure on, but again, starting so deep in the field, I mean, Trevor, it's pretty difficult when you're deep in the field and a race stays green and try to catch up to the lead pack.
Yeah, it's going to get more difficult for him if it stays green and we get to green flag pit stops at 3. And Medina with a big moment off of turn number 2 keeps that machine straight, but a big wiggle for himself halfway down the backstretch.
Yeah, those wiggles are just going to get worse. And again, drivers trying to hold on to any little mistakes that could happen. And some drivers will get back out on track as Tyler Conroy extended time for the 48 as he had some damage. He is back out on course, but 2 drivers officially have called it a night. Andy Reeves as well as Matt Staten both calling it a night for themselves. They both got too much damage off that of the first 20 laps of this race. As right now we got a total of 26 drivers on the lead lap, and here's one of them in the middle of the field. It's Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine, as he's kind of in his own little space. And I would say here, Trevor, at Texas, the way that we've been seeing these drivers get so out of hand, this isn't the worst place for the 5 to have.
No, kind of just in his own little bubble over here. About that of a second to the car in front of him, about 2 seconds to the car behind him. So everybody having moments gives you plenty of time to react accordingly if something were to happen in front of you for Dakota. And Dakota's one of those drivers, Sam, that we don't talk about a lot, but just constantly runs his own pace, doesn't allow drivers to really force him to speed up his pace at all, just runs his own pace, and then at the end of the night, you'll look up and he'll be, inside the top 10 or close to the top 5 if he stays out of trouble.
And staying out of trouble is going to be the key for tonight's race. Again, we're not even to that of the first third of this race being done, which that's going to be at the lap 50 marker when we're expecting our first pit stop. And staying out of trouble, especially with how early we are seeing drivers out of control on lap 10 to 15. Don't want to be in that spot. Is another driver that's looking for some good runs, as we're looking through the cycle of drivers in the middle of the pack, really looking good for themselves, as we got that of Rich Jamison here running his own race, having a good run, and as well that of Ed Perry that we also saw on screen. Both these drivers just trying to stay out of trouble, running well for themselves. Ed Perry going to be down 2 positions, but as we're cycling through and giving it, some screen times for some of these other drivers that are deeper in the field, they're just trying to survive. We already saw how difficult it can be, and survival is always the key for everyone out here.
Yeah, just try to survive, get some good track time, get a feel for the car, and maybe if there's a caution at some point, you've learned enough and you can work your way up through the field. Big wiggle from the 57 to Gilmore. He's going to be in the grass on the front stretch, keeps it straight, keeps it locked down. And a good recovery, good save from the 57 of Gilmore down the front straightaway.
Gilmore, that's not the first time that he's had issues, but luckily didn't collect anyone else with him with that second strike that he's had so far. That other driver we had on screen was James Hackworth Jr. And walking through this field where drivers are at, just survival mode for the majority of them, as we now have that of the 88 on screen. This is Christopher Howell, and Christopher Howell, he's shown pace at other tracks here tonight. It's 15th so far, middle of the pack. Not bad, as you see in the shot behind. Jonathan Coxwell continues the drift out of turn 2.
Yeah, it's just going to get worse and worse as this run continues. Still that of about 10 to 12 laps that these drivers have to go on a set of tires, and that sliding sensation is just going to get even more aggressive, especially as this run continues.
As we take a look at our rookie drivers that are running here tonight, as we got a couple of them running here. Got 4 of them so far with us. That Thompson check running here tonight, but one of those drivers has just been out there running his own race. He was here last season, but didn't run enough races to full rookie and be taken away from the rookie class. And as well, a few other drivers just having a good runs this evening.
Yeah, the 14 up there, I believe, it's going to be Brad Delph up there in 11th. Sam having a really good run for himself as well.
Yeah, very good run for himself, as we get those going to be seeing the 14 in 11th place, just riding behind that of Cedric Hunter. Hunter has made the pass over the 14 and slowly making his way, cracking that out of the top 10, as Eric Kralik, Ryan Bird, drivers in front of the 14 and the 13 machine. 2 drivers that we had our winter series where drivers got to test out their skills in the 87 car. They both were very strong performing there. It was actually the 01 that came away with almost a win in the championships, as he was so consistent in that machine. And it's always fun when drivers during the off season can have fun with different machines, test their skills, And you see here, other drivers are testing their skills. It's the battle for 6th place. It's going to be that Brandon Colley, Tom Sinchek right on top of one another. Nose and bumper as they head down in turn number 1.
And Sinchek trying to recover back through the field as he fell back to that about 13th or 14th at one point at the start of this run. The 8 just looked uncomfortable early on, but looking really good as this run has progressed and moved his way back up almost into the top 5 as he's gotten around the one of Brandon Colley, but Colley trying to come back at him just doesn't look like he can carry as much corner speed. So I say that a little bit of a checkup there from the 8 allows the one to get a little bit closer here on the front stretch.
Maybe not feeling confident enough to make that move as getting back on the throttle could be costly, smashing into the outside wall if you get too tight. So drivers try to be patient on how they want to attack those runs as leaders continue to just run up front and feel well for themselves as we drop to that 38 machine. Christopher Norris currently running in 17th position. We are 40 laps into this run, about to be 44 when our leaders cross the line. It is currently right now just a waiting game of when do you come into pit road, or will we see a yellow from someone wrecking because they got too loose at this time here at Texas. And Trevor, this is one of those awkward moments during the race where you're trying to predict when you're going to come into pit road, but at the same time, you know at any moment a yellow can come out. So it's that risky call of, do you want to come into pit road and do an undercut, or just be patient and wait until you run out of fuel or a caution flag comes out?
That's always the rough call to make. I mean, come in, get those fresh tires. You'll be the fastest car on track, as it looks like James Vining is going to be one of the first drivers to come down pit road as he's calling it out. He's going to make his pit stop. So do you follow suit? Come get those fresh tires. Try to pull a little bit of a gap to the cars behind you, or maybe make up some track position. Or do you stay out as long as you can to have the fresher tires at the end of a run? And what happens if there's a caution and you get caught a lap down? It's just anything can happen when we get to these green flag pit stops, Sam. That's what makes it so exciting.
And also, if you're trying to turn this race into that of a 2-stop race, your markers is that a lap 50, 51, maybe even 52, to that of 100 and 103. Those are your windows you're looking to make your 2 pit stops. If you're pitting before that, though, Trevor, I mean, fuel-wise, I believe they can stretch it to 50 and 55, but tires, on the other hand, it seems to me that's the big thing that's holding these drivers back. And I feel confident that our leaders can make it there, but like a James Vining and anyone else that tries to trickle in before lap 50, this is a risky call for yourself.
Yeah, they're gonna struggle at the end of a run to really, have any pace, especially fuel wise. I mean, it could be a struggle for them to make this a 2-stop race. So we'll have to see how it's going to work out for them. I think most of our leaders say we'll probably see them come in at that 50 to 52 lap mark to really make this a 2-stop race for themselves.
As currently our leader, Steven Stimpian, the 81 machine, trying to set up for when he's going to come to pit road. Steven Stimpian, 1 win so far in the WSSR Roast and Gems Cup Series, and that was back in Season 4, winning at Talladega. That's Season 4. Sting was a shortened season for those drivers as they only ran 8 races. They were trying to just give rebirth after a year and a half hiatus from Season 3 to Season 4, but Steven Stimpian still looking for another win to notch onto the belt of this 81 machine. And to win at a non-super speedway track, Trevor, I mean, that has got to be having such a great feeling if you're running out there on track.
Yeah, to get a win at a non-super speedway, it shows to everyone that, hey, I can win, anywhere we go, because anybody has a shot. Like we talk about every time we go to that of a Daytona or Talladega, or even now the new Atlanta super speedway. Anybody has a chance to win at a super speedway racetrack just off the draft. But when you come to these 1.5-mile short tracks, it's a different driving style. It's a different skill base. And to get a win here just shows to everybody in the league, hey, I'm going to be a threat week in and week out.
Week in and week out, as drivers got to be careful for our leaders. They're starting to close in on some lap traffic ahead of them. The question will then be, do you pit before you get to lap traffic, or do you come into pit road after you make those passes? As Steven Stimpian still leading the way, almost over a half a second over Vincent Sora, who Vincent Sora's been doing a great job for himself. The driver that took the lead early, who won last week at Daytona, falling to 5th place, it's Brian P. Johnson. And Trevor, I'm curious for Brian, How will he try to adjust after that first stint that we've had so far? When he pulled out to that lead, was leading those first 15 laps, then lost it, and now he has been in the settle mode of 5th place.
I'd be curious to see how it's going to work out for Brian here to get back to the front. I mean, it looked like he had great speed in the short run, granted, very short run of that of about 5 to 7 laps before he ended up losing the lead and kind of settling back in here to the 5th. So see if Brian can work his way back up through the field, running that of about the same lap times as our leader, actually a little bit faster than that of Steven Stimpian that time around. Not by much, but still has the pace here on the long run. Just lost a little bit of track position there.
He's fallen from the lead back to 5th place for that of Brian P. Johnson, and ahead of him going to be that of Larry Gingling, who's just settling in, trying again. Get used to running these next-gen Cup cars. Last time Larry was shown here at WSSR, they were running the Gen 6 Cup machine. They were not in the next-gen Gen 7 Cup car. Two very different machines. You got an extra gear to work with. The handling's different. I mean, Trevor, that's got to be a big jump going from one Cup car to the next generation.
It's a very different experience between both of those cars. With the horsepower difference between the two, granted it's not much, but the horsepower difference, the downforce package that we used to have with the Gen 6 car with a lot of side force in those machines, and to this with how loose it can get, it's a learning curve, and Larry doing a really good job here currently running 4th, transitioning from the Gen 6 to the next gen car here tonight.
Currently, right now, this is a battle between a lead lap driver and a driver that's a lap down, as Kyle Rochelle, first going to be the second driver a lap down, trying to stay ahead of the 13 machine of Cedric Hunter. Hunter up to 9th place. He's done a great job recovering, but he's 6 seconds off of our leaders. So he's still got some time to try to make this up. We're 54 laps in. And Trevor, this was the thing that was going to be interesting for the drivers. Fuel-wise, is they're going to be running the full 100% fuel load. Technically, they could go about 60 to 65 laps if they're saving fuel. And I honestly thought at this point we would have already seen our leaders come to pit road, but they continue to stretch it out as we lose another driver. That of Chad Malik is out of the race.
Yeah, I'm surprised. You would have thought with how they were talking in practice and how these cars looked in practice and looked here in the race that these drivers would come down for a set of tires before they even had to worry about running out of fuel. But looking like these guys are willing to stretch it as long as they possibly can, maybe thinking for the caution, or maybe just trying to shorten how long that last run is going to be for themselves. But right now, just out there logging laps, keeping it green, as Stimpian still continues to lead. But that of Vincent Sora slowly starting to close back in. That 15 machine ever so closer to the 81 out of turn number 4.
As driver ahead of our lead driver, going to be Ed Perry hitting pit road as the 13 we keep on screen. Going to be 9th place. As we move back up to the leaders, Steven Stampy and Vincent Sora continue to be up front. They are pulling away from Zach Hall, who had to back off with having the 9 machine in between himself and Vincent Sora coming into pit road. That is going to be a factor that could be affecting these drivers as well, is now that we're having quite a few drivers trickle into pit road that are not on the same speed levels as our leaders, they're going to have the speed advantage now with getting fresh rubber. Trevor, I'm curious on how that could be affecting our leaders if some of those drivers are a lap down, try to manually unlap themselves.
It could get interesting with them getting by. They're going to have to be, obviously those drivers are going to have to be aggressive to get around our leader to get back on the lead lap, but you also got to do it kind of in a safe way. We've seen how loose these cars get when you're being aggressive, so I think the last thing these lap cars want to do is go up there, try to unlap themselves, get loose, and take out one of our front runners. But it is a possibility to do, as they don't want to give up time trying to unlap themselves, trying to get themselves unlapped.
Yeah, don't want to give up, don't want to lose anything if possible. As our leaders continue to about to hit lap 60. Again, 65 is going to be the extended window that they can go if they've been saving fuel, and at the pace that they've been running, I think they can easily hit lap 65. Now, here comes the true question, Trevor. I don't think that they're going to try to do it, but is it possible for these drivers to try to attempt this race and turn it into a one-stop with the pace that they're going?
It would be close. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but somebody further back in the field, maybe the back half of the top 10, top 15, somewhere in there, somebody might be able to do it because they weren't being as aggressive at the start of the race like our leaders were when they were battling one another. So it's a possibility, but I don't know if it's going to be possible for them to stretch it that far. But we never say never, Sam. I mean, it could really make the end of the race interesting if somebody is trying that strategy.
Absolutely. As a driver having issues, we've lost another driver to having some complications on the exit of corners. Christopher Norris required damage for the 38 as they've had to come to pit road. It looks to be a broken toe link after getting a little bit of assistance from Jonathan Cogswell at the exit of turn 4 back on lap 57. Back on lap 60, excuse me, of this race. That could be the end of Christopher Norris's night, as well as seeing a couple of other drivers deeper in the field trickle into pit road, as James Kaufman saw there enter pit road. And here comes from some of our first front runners. It's going to be late apex together. Tom Sinchek, Ryan Bird into pit road.
And this might trigger the rest of our leaders to come down pit road, as those two are going to be the first ones on and off pit road with 4 fresh tires. So they're going to have the advantage here. It looks like the 67 might be coming in, the 13 might be coming in. See if Stimpian or Vincent Sword decide to pull off here. Stimpian's going to stay out another lap. But Sam, this is going to trigger all our front runners to come down pit road and get those 4 fresh tires.
4 fresh tires. Don't want to make any mistakes. Don't want to slide through your box. Don't want to get black flags for speeding. And that's exactly what happened to one of our front runners, Tom Sinchek. You called it there, Trevor. We always seem to see green flag pit stops and someone caught with a mistake. It's going to be the 8 machine, black flag. It's a 40-second hold into pit road. He's going to go at least 1, maybe even 2 laps down.
And just like that, I mean, Sinchek was running that of about 5th, was really looking good on the long run, and now that 40-second hold really going to hurt the 8th race. Going to need a couple cautions to get, his laps back and get back up there. But with the way this is going, might be in a lot of trouble here tonight, Sam, for that 8 machine of Tom Sinchek.
And as well, that James Kaufman was another driver caught with speeding, but they'll be able to get back out on track after they finished out their 40-second hold. As Tom Sinchek going to get back out on track, he's going to be at least currently right now 2 laps down. But once the pit cycle goes through, should be just 1 lap down as David Medina, Thomas Walter hit pit road. And here comes Wharf top runners, Steven Stimpian now hitting his box.
Stimpian's in, Brian Johnson's in. It's going to leave Vincent Sword, Zach Hall, Brandon Cawley out for at least another lap or 2. But right now, and caution.
As the yellow flag is out. And that is going to change a lot here tonight, as everyone's trying to get themselves woed up, but it's going to seem to be miscommunication on who was coming into pit road, as Christopher Howell going to be ran over from that of Ryan Bird.
Here, but it looks like we called it just a miscommunication on those coming to pit road versus trying to slow down to come to pit road, fresh tires, and incident there. And this is really going to hurt that of our race, what was our race leader, Sam, as he had to go through pit road as to not go a lap down and come back around the racetrack.
And you could just see, we're in slow motion, and you could see the absolute difference in the closing rate. Ryan Bird, fresher tires than the 88 machine. For that of Howell to come into pit road is a little bit high, but that was crazy how fast Ryan Bird. Obviously, there was a miscommunication at that point of where they were going to go, but that is going to bring out our first yellow of the night. And Ryan Bird taking a lot of damage there for the 49. No required damage given to either driver, but you hate to see that yellow come out at the time that it did. But again, middle of pit cycle, it's usually where we see cautions come out.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of it. Christopher Howell trying to get to pit road. Maybe the call over the radio wasn't heard, and you just see the closing rate on those new tires and the difference it makes. And just like that, our first caution of the night. And it's going to help some drivers, hurt other drivers, as Vincent Soar is going to be our race leader now, and he gets into his box. But Sam, everybody's now got a chance to catch their breath, but these new tires, they could be just as wicked loose as the old ones were. So this restart's going to get really fast, or this restart's going to be really fascinating once we go back green.
It is, because now we got a bunch of drivers that are going to have to take a wave around to get back onto the lead lap for some of these drivers, which is going to force those that have to take the wave around. They're going to be on completely older tires than those that have already pitted. That's going to be trapping that of everyone, I believe, from 7th on back are going to have to take a wave around.
Yeah, it was just the timing of that caution. I mean, we had Stimpy and Johnson, Larry just come off of pit road, Brian and Brian Johnson, Steven Stimpian were already on pit road, but the 67 of Larry Yingling, Cogswell, Kralik, Dunning, Vining, and Hunter had all pitted, I believe, the lap before that or a couple laps before that. So that's going to force them to take the waiver on it. It's just going to completely shake up our entire top 10 almost.
I don't know if there's an issue with Steven Stimpian, if he ran out of fuel, but he is coasting to his box at about 11 miles per hour. He was trying to come into pit road, but decided to stay out for an extra lap. And Trevor, he is just getting to his box now. He's going to go a lap down, it's looking like, at the rate that he's going to get into his box, and the leaders are going to go on by with the pace car.
Yeah, I mean, Stimpian, so he came down pit road under green, but the caution came out, so Stimpian had just went straight through pit road, Sam, to not go a lap down, and I think caused the 81 to run out of gas as he had to make 2 pacing laps before pit road opened up, and just like that ran out of gas. Our leader now in massive issues here for himself is, like you said, going to be a lap down here.
And this is, again, a bizarre moment, but everyone that's on equal tires is going to be on this restart, looking to be just our top 4 that are going to be on the tire set that's going to be the best for this run. That's Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley, and Brian Johnson. The rest of the field going to be on multiple laps usage of their tires. And for the 81, Steven Stimpian looks to be going 1 lap down, and he's going to be trapped with a gaggle of other cars that are 1 lap down as well.
Yeah, he's going to be all the way down there in that of, I believe, about 17th position for Steven Stimpian. So just an unfortunate turn of events for himself. But like we said, I mean, that's green flag pit stops for you. Anything can happen. I mean, he made the right call, Sam, by going back out on the racetrack. Just didn't have the fuel to make it work for himself. And that's the issue you run into when things like that happen. And now going to have a long road ahead of himself if he wants to get back up there and battle Vincent Sora.
And I'm curious on if the admins are going to push this out for a little bit of an extra time for this restart, because they're going to have to stack everyone up. Some of these drivers are going to be trying to take the wave around, and as they get their wave around and get to be rolling again, some drivers aren't even going to be able to get a wave around for themselves. That is going to be leaving with us because of the timing of the caution, the way that everyone lined up. We are going to be having 12th on back, all 1 lap down. 24th on back are going to be 2 or more laps down. We are left with 11 drivers on the lead lap, and only our top 4 are going to be in the top rows on this restart. Take that back, actually. Only our top 3, and then there's going to be a couple of lap cars in between 3rd and 4th place. Trevor, I've never seen this complicated of a restart that we're about to see.
Yeah, I've never seen it either, Sam. This is going to get really interesting if the admins choose to let this go green this time by. This could really throw a wrench in the plans. I mean, it's going to be Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, Brandon Colley, and then you've got the 8 of Sinchek, Dakota Moniz, the 3 of Medina's there, the 04 of Walter before you even get to, I believe, the 28 of Brian Johnson. I mean, he's at the tail end of the field, Sam. There's like 5 or 6 lap cars between him and the top 3.
All of them had to take the wave around, so they're trapped behind. We're only going to have 4 drivers stacked side by side. The rest of the field all stuck on the inside groove, and we're closing in on halfway. What a bizarre moment to be as we are green here at the Texas 150.
And Vincent Sora with a great jump in that 50 machine over Zach Hall. Zach Hall is going to stay clear of the 8 of Sinchek, jump down in front of the 1 of Brandon Colley, as Sinchek trying to get 1 of his 2 laps back after his speeding penalty on green flag pit stops. But he's going to get up there and get around the 15 of Vincent Sora, and he's trying to do battle here with the 1 of Brandon Colley down the backstretch.
And this could be a really awkward restart for the 28, because that of Brian Johnson might have to plead with the race admins, because he might have to come into pit road. A black flag, I think it might have been for an exit of a closed pit stall, and he still has the black flag. He could be disqualified if that doesn't get cleared as we continue to roll green. Our top 3 all in line, and there's a couple of lap cars splitting up 3rd and 4th place, as it is still absolute gaggle of wherever you could be on placing yourselves, and everyone's on fresh rubber. And now it's time to watch out and see, as this race continues on, who's going to get loose and who can hold on in the next couple of laps as Johnson heads to pit road.
Okay, here comes Brian Johnson to serve that penalty, and what a difference, Sam, that of about 8 laps can make. I mean, we were green flag our first almost 65 laps of this race, and then just everything just unloads all at once. Speeding penalties, cautions, drivers running out of fuel, exiting closed pit penalties. I mean, everything's just happened so quickly here tonight. And Zach Hall has gotten around Vincent Score for the lead in all that.
He's gotten by for the lead, and now the question is for Zach Hall, is he going to push too aggressively? Again, Vincent Sora was looking pretty quick to watch out for at the end of that run. Our top 3 drivers that you see in that shot are our top 3, but that of 4th place of Larry Yingling, he's all the way back in the back half of this gaggle of drivers. He's working the outside lane, but that might not be where you want to be, especially on the fact that we saw about 5 to 6 laps. Staying in that higher groove can be costly later on in this run.
It could be, and then you've got the battle for the lead up front. Then you've got the battle for the lucky dog between Medina, Stimpy, and that of the 5 of Moniz, the 17 of McCafferty. I mean, all these drivers up here battling with the leaders, but also battling for the lucky dog if something were to happen. As Colley's going to use a power move on the outside of 1 and 2. He's going to be side by side with Brandon Colley, with Zach Hall down the backstretch. So they're 3 wide down the backstretch with Stimpian.
They're 3 wide, and it's going to be Steven Stimpian trying to make this inside lane work, but it's the outside. Tom Sinchek caught speeding. He's currently 2 laps down. He needs to unlap himself the hard way if he wants to get one of those 2 laps back, and then he's got to bank on a caution flag coming out. But it's current time, Brandon Colley to the point, and he's trying to pull away. And also watch out behind them, the 17 going all the way up to the 3rd line. He's going to be making them charge forward. It's going to be McCafferty making his move as they're almost 4-5 wide heading down into turn number 3.
And Vincent Soar is going to be the man stuck in the middle. He's got the 57 to his inside, almost a little bit of contact as he's stuck to the inside of Medina there. And just aggressive moves being made left and right out of turn number 2. Sam, they were almost 4 wide down the back straightaway at one point as drivers just trying to get everything they can to get themselves back on the lead lap and be in position for a lucky dog.
And what stuck in the middle, the blue and white, it's going to be that of Vincent Sora. You're also going to be seeing that going to be Steven Stippian trying to pass 2nd place. And as those drivers stacking on top of one another, Larry Yingling, who started about a 1.5 seconds, almost 2 seconds away from our leaders, he's up to 2nd now for the 67.
He just worked his way through the field. I would say patiently, but I don't think there was any patience involved in anything we just witnessed in the last 2 laps. But Yingling now up to 2nd. He's got the 81 of Stimpy in front of him is the 17 of McCafferty's gotten around that of the one of Brandon Colley. So now Stimpy's going to look to the outside, and Larry's just going to try to follow him here through 3 and 4. A little bit of a wiggle, though, for Larry. He's just trying to get the momentum built up. And he's going to have a run here, Sam, off of turn number 4.
He's trying to make the run work, and he's going to follow the fast driver. I mean, he's going to be following the driver that was leading before we came into pit road for green flag pit stops about 16 laps ago. And Larry Yingling, he is back to the point. That was the pass for the lead. The other 2 drivers ahead of him were drivers that were 1 lap down that have unlapped themselves. But they got to be careful because this 67 could easily put them all back on 1 lap down again.
Yeah, now the question is, we saw Larry get up here the first time in that first run and then kind of fade back a little bit. Now the question is he going to get up here and be able to hang on to this Colley? We saw was aggressive getting up here. The question is, did he use a little bit too much tire too early on? Is he going to fall back? Is that of Zach Hall, Vincent Sword trying to catch up to them? Kyle Rochelle's caught up to those 2. So it's going to be a 3-car battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th as Aaron Kralick's trying to get up to them as well. But you still got the lap cars, the 14 of Brad Delph, the 3 of David Medina's up there. Dakota Moniz is up there. Sinchek's still up there. So we've got a lot of battling, but it's a combination of lap cars and lead lap cars.
The 1 lap car I'm very concerned about. Watch out for the 17 of Sean McCafferty. Because he was the driver that made the pass to unlap himself. He is technically in front of this whole entire lead pack. But Trevor, we saw when he was aggressive, it was 15 laps after his aggression that he started to get extremely loose and almost got caught up in a couple of wrecks. He could be a driver to be careful of for our leaders. If he gets any trouble and gets loose, that is going to be a hazard drivers have to avoid. And for the rest of the field, they're starting to get to that point where the looseness will start to kick in.
Yeah, and with how aggressive everybody's being, I mean, this could cause a lot of issues for our drivers, but especially, like you mentioned, if the 17 starts to get loose and he's at the front of this field, that could cause issues for our leaders. Another driver already having issues is going to be that of the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. Got a little loose out of turn number 2. and he's going to be right in front of that of the 15 of Vincent Sora. Sora's going to try to go around his outside, but this 57, like that 17, Sam, was another driver that after about that of 10 laps got really loose, and we saw him through the grass a couple of times on the front stretch.
Who's rolling to go 3 wide again? Lap cars trying to sort themselves out on who's going to be the lucky dog driver. This is the battle for the lucky dog, the 57 and the 3. Who's going to be in that slot to get that lucky dog if a caution comes out and they're not involved? But here comes Kyle Rochelle, the 21, aggressively trying to power his way forward. And that for that 21 machine, he's in 5th place. The driver that he's trying to get up to is Vincent Sora in the 15. A lot of different positionings on where you can be, but it is such an awkward restart with so many lap cars mixed and mingled. It made things difficult to tell who's really the driver you're battling for position and who are you trying to stay away from. As what are you seeing, Trevor?
Gilmore again really loose off of turn number 2, almost got into the 21 of Rochelle. He's going to get split by Delphin Sinchek. Here comes Aaron Kralik, and again the 57 just being aggressive though, trying to get back up there, get that lucky dog position. But Sam, that 57 looking really unstable already here.
And the 17 is going backwards. That of McCafferty tried his best to stay ahead of everyone else, but the tire wear just was not there. As you're going to see that driver all the way up against the wall, that's the 17, just trying to give space as Gilmore once again just not feeling confident is this 57, and the reason why, he's on some of the oldest tires out of everyone out here.
Yeah, it looks like he came in on that of about lap 63, so that of 2, 4, 5 lap difference in tires, just showing how uncomfortable he is. And the 17 McCafferty falling back through the field, and this is going to get interesting, man. McCafferty's way up high in turns 1 and 2, and that could really snap that 17 loose as he does there a little bit. At a corner number 2, almost comes down into the 14 of Brad Delph, and this is where all these drivers got to be holding their breath and wondering what's going to happen to the 17 on every corner exit.
Well, he's already, you got a sense, it's just that rear end wants to kick out. Even on entry, it is not looking nice. It's almost like this car is trying to fight back in every corner and aspect. As here comes that of Sean McCafferty. This is where the troublesome spot has been on the exit of turn 2. And you can see that the front end just wants to turn on its own. And he's got to be gentle with the inputs. And I got to say, the 17 doing a great job with the fact that this car is so out of control.
Doing a good job holding onto it. Trying to hold on and fight as best he can and give room at the same time, but really struggling. You can see how much he's having to move around in the corner to keep it off the wall, keep it off the cars in front of him as he continues to go backwards.
We are going to jump, though, up front to first place and second place because Brandon Colley was about to make a power move. He was right on the back bumper of Larry Yingling, but Yingling and an absolute sender into turn 1. He is so aggressive on the entry, while the 1, the 42, and everyone else, they are being very passive on setting up on these entries. They are trying their best not to just throw this race away.
Yeah, our top 4 now all closed in, nose to tail. Eagle calling Hall, Vincent Sora, and then we got the 3 car, the lap car, David Medina right there, and then 21 of Rochelle's finally gotten clear of most of the lap traffic and able to work his way now to the back back up to the 15 of Vincent Sora. But top 4 saying nose to tail. The question is, who's going to be the one that gets loose? Who's going to get the run? It's Brandon Colley that went a little bit high in 3 and 4, but gets a really good run through the center and gaining a little bit of time on the 67 of Larry Yingling down the front straightaway.
Going through the front straightaway. It is crazy action up front. They're single file for now. The rest of the field still trying to sort their way around. We got some sponsors we got to give big thanks to, which means we are going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, it's more aggressive racing here at Texas. Who's going to hold on? Who's not? You're watching currently the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series here at Texas. It's the second race of the season. And right now, it has been some great racing action. You won't miss a thing as we go side by side. We'll see you in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After that commercial break, side-by-side action, you got to see Brandon Colley get the lead back for a quick moment, then lost it, and now it's the battle between Vincent Sora and Zach Hall. As these two earlier on were getting very aggressive at times. Thought maybe Vinny was going to get a little bit overzealous. Not going to do so. But as they have now caught back up to the 81, Steven Stippian, he unlapped himself on that last restart. Now under fire of potentially going back a lap down. It would be our 11th driver on track, which would leave us only with 10 drivers on the lead lap. As we had a caution in the middle of our green flag pit stops all the way back on lap 67. Currently, though, drivers have been doing a great job. We've only had one caution here tonight as we are about to finish up through 2/3 of this race. Texas 150 for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Race number 2 of season 6. It's been a good one so far. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Trevor Earhart. And Trevor, it's been awesome to watch these drivers running as aggressive as they've been here tonight. But man, has this track been a handful.
It's been a handful. Everybody's been sliding around a generous amount all night long on corner exit as these tires wear and these run continues. But I mean, Sam, we had a great green flag run there, 65 laps, 66 laps for that first green flag run, and then just a unfortunate pit communication, a miscommunication issue that brought out our first caution, but really shook up the running order. Had a lot of cars have to take a wave around, restart with 3 leaders up front, and then about 6 or 7 lap cars before our next group of leaders. And now everybody's gotten sorted back out, Sora back up to the lead. But he's going to deal with Stympian, Sam. And I don't think Stympian's going to go back down, not going to want to go a lap down here without putting up a heck of a fight.
And the big thing to watch out for is Vincent Sora is trying to get by this 81. He was not making it easy at all. And the reasoning why is because these drivers aren't teammates with Steven Stympian, more so aligned to help out that 42 machine. We'll see if Stympian's going to be as gentle here through the exit of turn 2. Will he just give up the power? And it looks like he'll continue to side draft his way down into turn number 3. Thought maybe he was going to help the 42. Might have backfired. As I take that back, he just gets out of the way on the entry of turn 3. Love to see it from Steven Stympian. But now that 81, our first driver 1 lap down. So if a caution comes out, Steven Stympian would get that lucky dog position. And due to the fact that Jonathan Coxwell had to be coming into pit road, he was just running out of fuel, was on the oldest tires and fuel stint of everyone out there. We are now down to just 9 drivers on the lead lap. And Trevor, that is incredible to see as we got 103 laps still to 103 laps done in this race. We got less than 50 to go. It's a 15 trying to pull away, but here's some other battles that are going on track as you see that Rich Jameson trying to hold off lap traffic.
Yeah, Rich Jameson trying to hang on. He's got the 04 there. Thomas Walter right behind him, and Jameson, the last car on our lead lap. Sam, it's hard to believe 9 cars on the lead lap with that of about 47 laps left in this race. I mean, with how long that green flag run was going, I mean, I thought we'd have, 20, 23 cars on the lead lap after the green flag pit stops. With that caution, really changed everything up, and now just 9 cars here tonight still on the lead lap.
As with only 9 drivers left on the lead lap, it's yeah, like I said, I was expecting a lot more drivers to be on the lead lap as well, but the timing of the caution changes everything up. As tonight in here for the WSSR, major sponsors for that, as you see up on our top left, TrophySmack.com. TrophySmack is a great sponsor that WSSR has picked up. They've been actually the trophy builder for our last 2 seasons. They built out the rings that the 15 has for himself as a championship winner. If you win the championship, you get yourself a ring by that of TrophySmack. But TrophySmack doesn't just do rings. They do trophies as well as championship belts, and they also have a new product that they're trying to push out there called Wall Smack. Wall Smack is a great service to have for yourself if you want to put up that of a stainless steel image. It can be custom. Any photo logo that you want to put on, they'll do it for you. And what makes that of the Wall Smack even better is they've got themselves a mounting safe system to protect your walls with their safe wall magnets that allows you to put up your wall smack in a safe manner. I know for myself, I'm looking to get myself a wall smack. I know also our producer and owner, Rob Moyer's planning on getting a wall smack. and also Brian P. Johnson with his win last week. He's probably looking to get a wall smack of his winning car at Daytona. What are you going to get on your wall smack? As we're having a driver smacking the wall right there, it's going to be Thomas Walter. That is not a moment that you want to get a wall smack for.
Yeah, not the moment that you want the wall smack for, and definitely not a moment that Thomas Walter wants to put on a wall smack. But I think, Sam, you found your wall smack recipient of the race here as Thomas Walter, with a big moment down the backstretch, gets into the outside wall and has to bring that 04 machine down pit road.
I mean, if Trophy Smack is really wanting something, there has to be something lingering with Wall Smack, because every time I try to have a sponsor read for it, someone's smashing the wall. It was Vinny last week. Now it's that of Thomas Walter. Thomas, sorry for the commentator's curse. It happens sometimes as these drivers racing it out for the lead. It's Vincent Soar, Zach Hall. And if you want to check out more from Wall Smack, go check them out in our link that we'll have in chat here very shortly. Thank you so much to Wall Smack, to that of Trophy Smack, and all the great products you have for people to purchase as they continue to race out. Vincent Sora, Zach Hall, Trevor. What makes this run even more interesting is I don't think they can take it to the end at this point, but they will have to start thinking about pit road here shortly.
Yeah, pit road here in about that of 21 laps, if my math is right. Came down pit road on lap 66, had in a couple of laps under caution. But we think they can go that of about 63 to 65 laps, so somewhere in that 130 to 135 range. And the drivers are going to have to make their last pit stop. And Zach Hall, lost a little bit of time when he had to get around the 81 of Steven Stympian, but didn't waste any time closing back up to the rear bumper of the 15 of Vincent Soar. But once he got here, just kind of stalled out, maybe waiting for that 15 to get a little bit loose on corner exit to really put his nose in there and make a pass for the lead.
The passing, the racing the last couple of laps, their lap times almost identical as you see Zach Hall trying to just get any type of fresh air on that front bumper on the exit of the corner, just trying to get some type of assistance as that of the 15. Fresh air, feeling a lot more confident up front on how he wants to drive out this course. As also want to give reports on drivers that are out of this race. We've already talked about a handful of drivers that are out. Newcomers to the DNF, James Vining on that last restart actually decided to call it a night after too much damage to the 33, and Ed Perry as well, too much damage to the 9. He has just called it an evening as he had to pull it into pit road. Even us with 25 drivers out on track currently and only 9 on the lead lap, and one of those on the lead lap is that of 0-1 of Aaron Kralik right now. Yeah,
Kralik did a really good job up 9 spots from where he started, just kind of, again, one of those drivers that runs at his own pace here, kind of in no man's land. Got about a half a second up to that of the 67 of Larry Yingling. As Yingling is starting to fall back through the field, he's on a little bit older tires than everybody around him, and about that of 2 seconds back to Jamie Lee Dunning in the 54. So Kralik trying to close in on a top 5 spot, but that's going to be one hard driver to pass once he gets up to Larry in the 67 to get around him.
It certainly is, as Brad Delph in the 0-1 playing a little bit of bobsledding with the way they were going up and down on the exit of turn 4, but they will solidify on where they want to be. 0-1 gets by the 14, and it's a couple of lap down drivers coming into pit road. Bob Skinner is getting out on his service. Tom Sinchek as well. Could be 3 laps down for the 8 machine, who was up inside of our top 10 on, before he had his penalty under green flag conditions, speeding through his box that put him 2 laps down on that last restart. Frustrating moment for the 8, but Trevor, now is the thing of mistakes. They easily can bubble up now with seeing some drivers coming into pit road.
Yeah, we could easily see what happened on the last round of pit stops happen here again, where fresh tires accidentally runs over the back of somebody on older tires with the rate in which these drivers close on each other on those fresh tires. So something that could happen is Kyle Rochelle's going to bring that 21 machine down pit road to get service. So he's going to be one of the first cars in our top 5, Sam, that's going to come down pit road. And this is an early pit stop for these guys.
A very early pit stop for that of the 21, but this could be a great advantage for himself if this race stays green. As if it stays green, this 21 could find himself with a great undercut and could be gaining a lot of positions as Christopher Norris trying to just run his own lane as the battling for the lead is back on, as we see that of Christopher Norris getting his shot here as he's been just trying to stay stable the best that he can in that of the middle of the field for this 38. And he's currently 8 laps down, but just trying to survive as we bounce back up to the lead position. Zach Hall to the inside. They've been side by side for about a lap and a half. And now Zach's trying to hold on as he's being heavily squeezed by that of Vincent Sora.
And Vincent Sora applying the pinch there in the middle of 1 and 2, really just not allowing the 42 to drift up and get back on the throttle like he wanted to. And you saw it there, a little bit of a wiggle from Zach as he was trying to get the power down, but just not able to do so. Vincent Sora's going to hold on one more lap here, hold on to the lead, but Zach trying to get that momentum built back up and see if he can get up there and get by the 15.
Trying to get by, and as well hoping to get by the 81. Steven Stipkin still lingering there, watching these drivers. We hop on board with 42 of Zach Hall. You can see that little bit of a wiggle. Let's watch those hands now as we ride on board and see how well the exit of turn 4 is going to be. As we've seen the exit of the corners, these drivers on 50-plus old lap of tires for themselves. And Trevor, we'll see how well this 42 can hold off on the exit turn 2, where it's been the most damaging moments for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, turn 2's been the spot where we've seen a lot of cars get loose, and you see Zach all the way down to the white line, following the 14 or the 15 of Vincent Sora. And right there, you see the wiggle, that the corrections, even halfway down the straightaway. Sam still making a little bit of corrections to keep that car straight.
Always working the wheel, and when you're at this point, this is when your skill starts to show. Who's got the wheelmanship to be fast and hold on to these tires? And right now, Vincent Sora, Zach Hall is proving why they're always a threat to watch out for, especially Vincent Sora, who is just doing a great job as our leader. Let's see how his exit of turn 2 looks here.
And Sora again down by that white line, and again, you see the same thing that Zach Hall had to do. Each driver having to turn back to the right to keep that car straight down down the straightaway, but not as aggressive as what Zach Hall had to do that last lap. So Sora a little bit smoother here on his tires, it looks like, especially on corner exit. And Sam slowly closing in on them. Brandon Colley, I mean, he was about 2.5 seconds back at one point, now down to about 1.5 seconds. So Colley starting to close in on our race leaders. As Cedric Hunter, another one of our top 10 drivers, comes down pit road for his pit stop.
Coming into pit road, do not get caught speeding. A couple of other drivers have been caught. That of Bob Skinner had to find himself holding and going even more laps down for that of the 82. But Cedric Hunter, some of the first drivers coming to pit road that were under the lead lap conditions. I think right now it's Larry Yingling that I'm curious about. When will the 67 hit pit road? Because I think that could really change up our front three on their mindsets on when they need to come in.
Yeah, and Larry kind of in an awkward situation. I mean, he came down that of about 4 laps before Vincent, Zach, and Brandon Colley all did. Larry was on pit road right before that caution came out. So he's on the oldest tires of our leaders. So when that 67 comes down pit road, I think that's when you'll see Colley and Zach and Vincent all decide to come down pit road, as I believe the 01 of Aaron Crawley might be coming down pit road this time by. And Sam, we get these green flag pit stops. I mean, we saw it the first time around. We can see a caution at any point as these drivers make their pit stops.
You're going to get yourself in trouble with speeding. You can get yourself in trouble with hitting too early. And then when a caution flag comes out, it could change everything. Jamie Dunning's also into pit road. Eric Kralik into pit road. This is going to be leaving us with a total of 5 drivers on the lead lap if we don't see any of our leaders come in this current lap that we're coming on by. And oh boy, this is about to get to chaotic mode because of the amount of drivers that are on the lead lap. How if a caution comes out, they could really change up how drivers think moving forward. Is Zach Hall now into pit road?
Yeah, we almost had a caution down the back straightaway. James Coffin with a big moment at a turn number 2. That 25 machine went all the way from the outside wall to the inside wall. Did a great job holding on to it. A little bit of contact between the 27 of Cogswell and the 67 of Larry Yingling. Gets the 27 a little sideways as they battle it out, as Yingling's struggling a little bit, but Vincent Sora stays out for another lap here, Sam, just giving Zach Hall a little bit of advantage as Vincent stays out on those old tires.
Is it an advantage or is it a disadvantage? Only time will tell. If a yellow flag comes out, it's a huge disadvantage for that of the 42, but if it stays green, how much time will Vincent Sora need to gain all this track position back? Because at this point, we're coming to 25 laps to go. Trevor, if this 15 or the 1 decide to stay out, that's a gutsy call for themselves, because that's a lot of laps that you've got to be hoping that you have somehow saved fuel on. But at the same time, you need those laps to try to run back all this time that you're losing by staying out.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to lose that of about a second and a half a lap, maybe 2 seconds a lap to fresher tires. And so Zach's just got to be patient here, not push too aggressively to wear out those tires, but enough that he's going to pull a big enough gap. That is a big moment for the car behind him there. But he's got to be smart here, Sam. Can't be too aggressive and wear those out as he tries to build a gap on Vincent Sora. Colley's staying out as well, along with the 67 of Larry Yingling. Those drivers deciding to go long, hoping that the fresh tires at the end of this run is going to be what they need to win this race.
Well, also, you got to think of this. That of Kyle Rochelle pitted about 8 laps before Zach Hall, and he's got an over 3-second advantage over the 42. He's gotten by a lot of lap traffic that was in front of this 21 and now is in between the 21 and the 42. And that of Kyle Rochelle is being very aggressive. He currently would be the driver that would take the lead if Zach does not get by. Into pit row now going to be Vincent Sora, as well as Steven Stimpian, which is now going to be gifting the lead to Brandon Colley. That of Larry Yingling. They continue to stay out for another lap as that of Kyle Rochelle is banking on lap traffic to hold off the 42 machine.
Yeah, this is going to get really interesting. Is Zach almost a little bit of contact at the back of the 57 there of Jeff Gilmore? As you can see the closing distance on these fresh tires compared to old tires. Zach tries to work his way through lap traffic. It's around the 27 as well. And now I think that should be the only car between him and that of Rochelle. I take that back. He's got the 8 of Tom Sinchek, as well as our leader, Brandon Colley. But Zach Hall giving chase for the 21 of Kyle Rochelle.
As well as we're still waiting for the 1 to 67 to hit pit road. I think for that of Colley, Larry Yingling, they are banking on a yellow flag to come out as Kyle Rochelle has gotten by the 1. We have 3 drivers on the lead lap. If a caution flag comes out, Rochelle could be a spoiler for a lot of drivers that are hoping to take a wave around, because he could stay out and just hold off a ton of drivers from getting their lap back.
Yeah, that could really make this interesting if a caution does come out. Looks like Brandon Colley, Larry Yingling both bring their machines down pit road, so that's going to hand the lead over to that of Kyle Rochelle, Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, Jonathan Cogswell, and then the 15 of Vincent Sora, Sam, and he's about that of almost 10 seconds behind Kyle Rochelle, so a lot of work for that 15 machine to do to get back up to the lead.
And I mean, it's going to be possible, but it's going to be a lot of work, like you said, to try to come back into this race. And at the same time, he's got to be careful that the 67 doesn't catch up to him. Looking at the numbers, everyone was good when they came into pit road. No black flags given to those 2 of Larry Yingling, as well as the 15 of Vincent Sora. The issue, they're going to be over that of 7, maybe even up to 10 seconds behind Kyle Rochelle and Zach Hall.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting the pace at which Vincent Sora, Brandon Colley, Larry Yingling have to run down our top 3 drivers. The question is going to be, if they do, are they going to have the tires to make those passes when they get up to Rochelle, Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter? Vincent Sora already around the 27 of Cogswell, so now it's got to get around that of Cedric Hunter, Zach Hall, and then get back to Rochelle. And Sam, those aren't going to be easy drivers to get around, and they're not just going to roll over and give you that spot either.
They're absolutely not. I mean, this is fighting for positions. This is going to be everything that you can to win here tonight. And Vincent Sora, at the same time, we talked about this at the top of the broadcast, being over-aggressive. You can easily drive so hard trying to catch up to somebody that the snappy loose sensation can come in a lot quicker than you were expecting. So for the 15, he's got to be fast but also patient. Same could be said for that of Cedric Hunter, who's just trying to run his own pace to catch up to Kyle Rochelle. For Zach Hall, though, it's for the lead. It's right now, this lap, that he's going to be trying to take it as he gets to the inside quarter panel. Zach Hall hoping to find himself back into victory lane. He did it 3 times last season. He's hoping to get his first of season 6.
An easy move there for Zach Hall on that of Kyle Rochelle. The tire difference between those 2 already showing Rochelle about 0.5 of a second a lap slower than that of Zach Hall. So Zach now clean air can kind of take it easy on these tires as he's really got no pressure out behind him. That of already a second gap back to Rochelle, 4 seconds back to Cedric Hunter, almost 6 seconds back to Vincent Sora, Sam. And we're running out of laps, almost coming to 15 laps to go here. And Vincent Sora's got a lot of work to do and not gaining a lot of time on Zach Hall.
No, we talked about how much time do you need to come back into catching up the driver ahead of you. I think for Vincent Sora, maybe 1 to 2 laps was the amount that you really could truly give up. Otherwise, you're giving up too much time compared to what you're hoping to gain back later on in a run. And for Vincent Sora, it just might be too much to handle. 16 laps to go. And at the time that the 15 crossed the line there, he was about a half a second faster than Zach Hall. If he continues at this rate, he will be at the back bumper of this 42. But that, Trevor, that's the key. If he continues at that rate.
Yeah, he's got to stay at that rate. And in doing so, has to pass 2 other drivers at the same rate of speed. So, you know, it's going to be hard for him to do, but I mean, it's the 2-time defending champ, Sam. I mean, if anybody can do it, it's going to be the 15 of Vincent Sora. The question is, will he be able to? He's got to get around Cedric Hunter right here to the outside of the 13 Roasted Jim's coffee machine, and easily going to make that pass stick, maybe. Cedric's not going to make it easy on him, but Vincent Sora with the power move to the outside of turn number 2 clears him and then goes right for the crossover move on the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. So just like that, Vincent Sora already up to second place.
He's up to third, but the big thing for that of Vincent Sora is the fact that, you know, the lap before this, he ran one of the fastest lap times, but that other lap when he got to the back bumper of the 13, he was held up so much through 3 and 4. He's now has to recover. That's about 2 laps where he's only gained about that 4/10. When the lap prior to that, he gained half a second. He needs to continue at the rate of a half a second each lap if he wants to catch up to Zach Hall, because if he continues at the rate these last 2 laps that he's done, he will not get even to the back bumper. He needs to find some screaming lap times, but here's the difference between Kyle Rochelle and that of Vincent Sora.
Yeah, Rochelle really struggling on those older tires. I mean, almost that of 12 laps, the difference between Rochelle's and Vincent Sora's tires, and the lap time almost a second quicker for Vincent Sora over Kyle Rochelle. So this is going to be an easy pass for Vincent once he gets to the 21. Should get in clear maybe through 3 and 4, and then it's just nobody between him and Zach Hall. And that, you know, looking at his lap times, also, Sam, 4/10 quicker than Zach Hall that last time by. And here goes Vincent Sora, the pass for second. So now it's just got to run down the 42 of Zach Hall and hope you don't run out of laps doing it.
Gotta hope that you've got something just a little bit more special as Zach Hall, Vincent Sora. Here is the difference between the drivers the last couple of laps. You can tell when Vincent Sora was passing somebody because it was only about 2/10, maybe 3/10 that was being gained. It's 4 or more when Vincent Sora's got clean air in front of him, and that's exactly what he has. It's clean air between the 42 and the 15. It's less than 4 seconds, 11 laps to go. And it is on Trevor on who's going to catch to Zach Hall, because Vincent Sora is the only one that can do it right now.
Yeah, Vincent Sora definitely does not want to see a caution here tonight, as I think he's going to have the pace to do it for that. He was almost 6/10 quicker that last lap over Zach Hall, Sam. And at this pace, he's going to get there. But getting there's one thing, passing him is another. But I think he might have the advantage. I mean, 4-lap fresher tires over that of Zach Hall. Did Zach use too much trying to get past Rochelle and build this gap, or did Vincent use too much? Once he gets to Zach Hall, will he have the tire left to get around him?
And will you just get breaky loose at some point for that of Vincent Sora? He's had a couple of moments where drivers were holding him back, but over a half a second these last 2 laps, this is going to be close. Vincent Sora, did he lose too much time? At one moment we thought maybe it was, but with 10 coming to 9 laps to go, Zach Hall is seeing that gap that he once had. It is already being cut in half in just 3 laps.
Yeah, I mean, at one point this was almost a 7-second gap, now down to 2.7 seconds to gap, and still closing that time by almost that of 5/10 quicker for Vincent Sora over Zach Hall, saying he is coming at a fast rate of speed, and he's going to be there to pressure the 42 for the win.
But again, each lap, it's going to get lower and lower on the rate that Vincent Sora is catching up to Zach Hall. And it's going to be 2.3 seconds at the line is the difference between Zach Hall to Vincent Sora. But that last lap, it was 0.471. It was slightly faster than the lap before. And it is just continuing at the same rate. Trevor, 8 laps to go, and it's now 2 seconds the difference between our front 2.
I think he's going to get there, Sam, but will he be able to get by? I mean, it's going to be such a good battle for the win if Vincent can catch him. I mean, he's slowly closing in, but those lap times also starting to kind of equal out. I know he's been quicker the last couple of laps. This time by Zach Hall with a 31.2, Vincent Sora with a 30.9. Getting closer on time, but he's still closing the gap down to 1.9.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Each lap that he gets closer and closer, he's got to be careful because that loose sensation is something to close in on. The tires are falling off. And as well, Trevor, how will Zach try to defend once that 15 closes in? Has Zach been trying to save his tires for once he can try to defend? 6 laps to go. The difference, about 1.6 seconds now. It continues to drop each and every lap. It's again another 3/10 chipped away.
Yeah, another 3/10 chipped away. But the thing Vincent Sora is going to have to worry about is he gets to within that, second and a half, 1 second gap. Dirty air is going to start playing a factor on the front end of that 15 machine. So what's that going to do to him? Is he still going to be able to run down Zach Hall, or will he kind of start to stall out? I mean, 1.3 now as we cross the line with 5 to go.
And also with these laps ticking away, the rumbling thoughts, if Zach Hall can somehow hold off that of Vincent Sora, is if a late caution comes out. That's another thing to watch out for. It's now a little bit less than 3/10 that last go around for Vincent Sora. He's starting to fall off, trailing off. 5 to go, about 4 to go, and it's almost down to a second where that little bit of draft could be helping the 15 on these straightaways.
Could be helping him, but like you mentioned, did Zach Hall save any tire once he got around Rochelle, got that clean air? Has he been able to save anything for when Vincent Sora catches him to hold him off? 1.03 now, almost 1 second the gap. Now under 1 second as Sora is closing in. 3/10 quicker that last lap. Vincent Sora over Zach Hall. Sam coming to 3 to go. When we cross the line this time, Vincent Sora is trying to get there. But will he? That is going to be the question.
This is about to be one of the more heroic runs from Vincent Sora. I mean, he's won at so many different tracks. He is tied for second most wins in the career of WSSR. The only driver that has more wins than Vincent Sora is that of Ryan Johnson. And Vinny, he's tied with the other 2-time champ of Larry Yingling, who's back in the running and also is inside of the top 5 for the out of the 67. Who's trying to continue with his career of every race the 67's been in. He's finished in the top 10, continuing on with a great run for himself. But 3 to go, Trevor. It's almost a half a second now. About to be 2 laps to go. Vincent Sora needs perfection if he wants to take this lead. 2 to go here tonight at Texas.
2 to go, 0.4 seconds the gap. Zach Hall's got to be perfect. Vincent Sora's got to be perfect. Sora's still closing in. Down to that of about 5 car lengths through turn number 1, out of turn number 2, down to 4 car lengths. He's going to get there, Sam, on the last lap. Question is, he's going to have enough to get around the 42, halfway down the backstretch. Still 4 car lengths going into turn number 3.
It has been an incredible race. There's only been a couple of cautions and a couple of wrecks that we've been scared of. But at a turn number 4, coming to that of the Roasted Gems Coffee white flag, it's Zach Hall with 0.2 seconds ahead of Vincent Sora. Sora needing a perfect run, and here he goes, right to the back bumper through 1 and 2.
About 1 car length out of turn number 2. Here comes Vincent Sora down the backstretch. Gets a good run to the outside. Zach Hall's going to throw a block. Vincent Sora going to stay in his tire tracks. Looks to go to the outside. Zach Hall blocks it. Sora dives it to the inside. Zach Hall's going to cover him off. What's going to happen out of 3? Sora gets a little bit loose coming out of turn number 4.
It's going to be Kaufman. Kaufman's going to have to figure out how to get out of the way. Vinny wrecks him! He wrecks him across the line! The 15 wins! Oh my goodness! Vincent Sora gives a bad bump off the corner. He was loose. Clips. And Sora comes with the win.
They were both loose off of turn number 4. More wrecking down the front stretch as Vincent Sora gets hit. They both got loose off of turn number 4. Sam Sora with contact to Zach Hall. Turns him around. Sora gets the win. Zach comes up oh so close. I mean, he was 300 yards from the finish line. Sam, he was so close to holding on to it.
He was right there. And Vincent Sora and Zach Hall automatically over the radio talking to one another about the situation. Woo, man, we knew Vinny was closing in. I didn't know if he was going to make the contact, but it was both drivers so loose out of the corner, and I think Vinny, he's trying to do some burnouts here. He'll finally get himself able to spin it around. But man, Trevor, what a finish there between Zach Hall and Vincent Sora.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that any driver did anything wrong. Both of them just being aggressive on corner exit, and like we talked about all night long, when you're aggressive, these cars get loose, and both of them just get loose. Vincent Sora spins to the inside. Zach gets a little loose going to the outside. They meet in the middle, and Vincent Sora slides through the grass, gets the win as Zach Hall coasts across the line backwards, hangs on for second place. But what a finish here tonight, Sam.
We'll have to see if we can go back and get a replay of that for during the post-race show, because we're going to have to step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our top two as well as the spotlight driver and get their thoughts on how tonight went, because that was a crazy one here at Texas. Whew, we'll be right back. We'll see you for the post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Freaky Fast Broadcasting post-race show. And what a finish we just had there, as it was Vincent Sora, Zach Hall coming to the very end, final corner out of turn number 4. The madness struck, and it's going to be the two-time champ who goes back to victory lane. Vincent Sora and Zach, it's going to be Sam and Trevor up in the booth. Yeah, made contact with Zach to get the win, but man, how does it feel to be back in victory lane for season 6?
Oh, dude, it feels really good, especially after last week. Last week was a horrible race for me. I didn't qualify good, and before I was out of the race on like lap 35 or whenever, I just couldn't get the help I wanted. Apparently, I was blinking last week. I couldn't get anybody to help me, and it just sucked up until I got wrecked, and I'm like last in points right now. So I figured I wanted to come out here and get a lot of points back and see where I'd end up after tonight. I honestly didn't think I was going to win tonight. I didn't feel very good about it at all, especially after practice. I didn't practice at all. And then came into the session tonight, and I just didn't like the way the car handled. But in the first run with Stimp and I battling there, I just kind of watched, and I just kind of figured out how the car felt and what I needed to do to it, and then it felt pretty good for the rest of the night.
I mean, Vincent, we're watching here the last last two corners here. I mean, what's going through your mind? You get to Zach Hall, you've been running him down. He's on older tires. What's going through your mind here, coming through 3 and 4, coming to the checker flag?
I just felt like the whole time I was getting up to him, I didn't think I'd one, have enough time, and then two, have enough tire once I got there. But I felt like if I could get up to his left rear, just enough to get him loose, I could have a chance. I definitely didn't want that to happen for both of us to wreck. But once I was that close, I just decided to go for everything in 4, and I just flat-footed it pretty much. And he started wrecking, and then after he started wrecking, I started wrecking, and I just ended up a lot better off than he did, coming through the grass rather than going head on into the wall. So I hate that we couldn't have been side by side having a photo finish, but I mean, it was still a pretty cool finish for everybody at home.
It certainly was, as we're getting to that point where you guys both were getting loose out of the corner. An incredible finish. And I mean, Vinny, You're the two-time champ. You now get yourself back into victory lane. You are now solidified as the second most winish driver in WSSR history with your 12th career win. You're now locked into the playoffs as we're seeing you drift across the line. Second race in a row that we're seeing somebody go through the grass across the finish line. How are you feeling like you can take tonight and momentum-wise moving forward in the rest of the season?
I feel pretty good, especially with the tracks coming up. I'm pretty decent at North Wilkesboro, or I was. And then actually, although we did change the road course today, so I don't know how I'm going to be at the new road course that we go to after Wilkesboro, but I feel pretty good. Getting a win for next week, I'm definitely going to feel a lot better, a lot less pressure, just trying to get some more points and see what I can do. But a lot of confidence going into another race after a win, and we're just going to see if we can get another one.
Well, Vinny, congratulations on another win for yourself. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, first off, Zach, I know he's probably hurting a lot. That it's really tough to lose. So just shout out to him. We still got the battle out. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm sure he'll probably go win one of the next two. All of our sponsors for making this possible. All of my sponsors, my painter, Tom Sinchek, everybody on my team at Category 5 Esports, and everybody at home watching.
That is going to be Vincent Sora, winner here tonight at Texas. Congratulations, Vinny, and good luck next week at North Wilkesboro.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a good one.
As we go from first place, let's head to second place as we bring up that of Zach Hall, who, if I guess we can now award Zach Hall with the trophy smack of the night after having the lead, not able to get it done. Zach, I know this wasn't the way you wanted the night to end after being up front to the very end until those last couple of 100 yards. How are you feeling coming away with second?
A little bit downbeat, but I mean, I can't be too downbeat. I mean, we ran real good all night. Just, I mean, my legs were shaking so hard there coming through the last 3 laps because I knew he was going to get close, and I probably should have went a little bit earlier. I went with about 5 to go to kind of stop the bleeding that he was causing there by just running me down, and probably should have went a little bit earlier because I feel like as sooner you got closer, you just get the air taken off the spoiler. And I mean, I really just going back and looking at it, I thought he was going outside, like he had to run outside, but he was actually getting loose. He was going outside. So when he went to like dodge outside there off of 4, I gassed it up more than I should have. I mean, I just look back at that, and that's all on me. I mean, I know we made contact there with him getting loose and coming down to me, but I mean, if he was going to be to the outside or not get loose and be on my inside, I would have smashed the wall off of 4 anyways because it was going that way. But, good finish, I guess, for the league. It was exciting. I'm sure for y'all up there with us coming across the line all backwards and in the grass. I mean, Zach, I know it's heartbreaking for you to come up, that of 200 yards short here tonight, but great run, second place, good points night. Wilkesboro next week, and then changed up the road courses. I believe it's twin ring GP circuit. I mean, how are you feeling about those next 2 tracks?
I actually feel pretty good. I think North Wilkesboro could be a good one for me. It seems like the last few times I've been there have been pretty strong. I'm interested to see how my short track program is. I mean, this is the first true test of like a mile and a half tonight, so I'm happy with how that played out. But with the next 2 coming up, it's kind of, arms up in there like, okay, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm going to put some practice in this week to see how that all plays out. And then Twin Ring Motegi, the GP course there, I mean, that's going to be real fun. I think we did have Rudskogin on the schedule, and just after doing some laps there with a few guys, we could have just turned the snooze button on for everybody, so it wasn't going to be much passing being done there. So I think we'll get some passing done at Motegi and have some interesting racing with us going there twice this season. So I think it's a cool little dynamic.
That it is. Excited to see how that dynamic is going to change up. Also, Zach, we're going to be talking to this driver after you. Having Larry Yingling back, I know that you've raced with him a lot in the past seasons, having the original 2-time champ racing. How are you feeling moving forward, knowing that he's back in town racing this season?
Oh, it brings a smile to my face, man. I had to beg and plead this guy, like, please come back, man. We need you to come race because he's just such a clean, methodical driver that even if he beats you, you can't be mad at him. I mean, the dude's so good. So I'm excited to see what he can do because, I mean, finishing 4th in his first race back, and he has not drove this car at all. Like, so this is fresh to him. And even doing the practice, I did some practice with him this week to get him kind of up to speed. He was terrible. I'm going to be flat out straight over there. Right? He was terrible. But tonight, he was right in the mix again. So give it 2-3 weeks. that guy's going to be contending for wins again. So I can't wait to see how his progress goes. So happy to have two-time champions battling. Then we got Brian Johnson also. So I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully I can add my name to that list of champions this season.
We hope for that, Zach. Congratulations for second place. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Well, first off, shout out to all our amazing sponsors, man, that help get it done here at World Series of Sim Racing. Roasted Gems Coffee, the best coffee out there. Go use code WSSR at purchase to get 5% off of your purchase, and you won't be disappointed. Trust us, because you got to start your race day off the right way for next Saturday. So hopefully you can get that for yourself. Then head on over to TrophySmack.com. You can even hit the exclamation trophy point in the chat and go check out their products, man. They have some amazing custom rewards and just all types of stuff. I mean, belts, rings, trophies. It's all over the place, engravings, and even their wall smack. I can't wait to get myself one of those. So thank you to them for coming on board. It's been a pleasure to have them part of the league. And then also shout out to all the guys in the room with me tonight that really kept me calm there coming down to end, even though my legs were about to fall off with how bad they were shaking with how loose it was here tonight. They did their best to keep me calm, and I gotta give them a huge credit. So thank you to them. And then last but not least, you guys up in the booth, thank y'all for everything you do and helping us put on the show like we do here on Saturday nights.
That is going to be the 42 machine of Zach Hall. Going to come away with a second place finish. Congratulations, Zach, and good luck next week at North Wilkesboro.
Later, guys.
As like Zach was saying, go check out that of Trophy Smack, as they are a great destination if you're looking to get yourself custom championship belts, custom rings, trophies, and so much more, such as their wall smack, as that of Vincent Sora and Zach Hall coming across the line. That has to be our wall smack wreck of the night. What a finish it was. And now let's head to our spotlight driver. Going to be coming away with a fourth place finish. He is back. He's racing with WSSR once again. It's Larry Yingling joining us. Larry, it's Sam and Trevor up at the booth. It's our first time getting to interact with you, but it's good to have another two-time champ in WSSR.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to be back. I was gone for a year or two and just iRacing as a whole, and a little bit longer in WSSR, but yeah, it's definitely great to be back.
Larry, we just talked to Zach, said you hadn't run the new Gen 7 car and up until, practice for tonight. I mean, what was it like out there tonight in the new car, getting your feet wet again?
The word I would say is probably hectic. Is the Gen 6 car and pretty much every other car on the oval side. If you get sideways, you can definitely save it, or at least have a good chance at saving it. And just how the downforce and side force is, these cars, you do not want to risk getting an inch sideways, as it kind of feels like an Indy car where you have about as much of a chance to save the Indy car as you do this car. And it's then the tires, the right rear tire, no matter what you did, it just wore off, and it was pretty loose about 10 or so laps in any run.
Well, Larry, I mean, it's great to have you back racing and trying out this new car. Coming up in this next schedule, we're heading to North Wilkesboro. Also going to be going to Twin Ring Motegi's Grand Prix course, and then going to be going to that of Nashville Super Speedway. 3 tracks that I don't know if you've ever ran before. Have you ever ran those tracks before? And how are you feeling with the new car and heading to those tracks?
North Wilkesboro, I did about 2 races a couple years ago, and Nashville about 1 race. I do like those tracks. I did test this next gen car maybe like 5 laps just this week, just to see if I did want to come back fully and get into it. And the brakes are somehow worse than the Gen 6 car. But apparently I read or was told that Gen 6 car brakes were unrealistic, I suppose. So definitely gotta get used to these brakes big time.
It definitely will. Well, Larry, it's nice to have you back racing, and you continue with your trend that you had when you weren't racing anymore of having a top 10 finish in every race that you've been in. Congratulations on continuing on that streak. And before we let you go, any shout outs do you have? The floor is now yours.
I definitely want to shout out the league for putting on a great race again. I've been watching you guys broadcast pretty much every week, and it's definitely pretty nice to be a part of the action now. And I definitely want to shout out all the guys that was in Discord with me. They definitely made it a little bit easier to know what to expect. Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, Steven Stampian, Brandon Colley, Christopher Norris, Bob Skinner and James Hackworth. And big shout out to my sponsor, Muffin Sports Cards on Instagram. If you enjoy the hobby of collecting cards, be sure to check them out on Instagram. And just want to thank you guys again for putting on the broadcast.
Well, thank you, Larry, for giving us a great show here tonight. Enjoy your time off until next week, and good luck at North Wilkesboro.
Thank you, sir.
As we go from our spotlight driver, let's take a look at the unofficial results here tonight. What a crazy race it was. Plenty of different carnage, and it's that 15 burning it down that got himself into victory lane here tonight at Texas. Certainly a lot of madness to be seen. Plenty of awards that should be given out, and if you're looking to get yourself a trophy or awards out there for good or bad moments, head on over to that of Trophy Smack today. Remember to use !Trophy Smack in the chat to go find their website, as well as they also have that other wall smack where you can post your custom images. As the driver's going to be up front, winner once again, Vincent Zora, back to form. Just 2 races into the season, he's into victory lane with Zach Hall in second place. Woes he's going to be feeling with how close he was to getting the win here tonight. Cedric Hunter starting all the way back in 28th position. He'll come away third. What a run for himself. That of Larry Yingling back into racing. He'll come away fourth with that of Eric Kralik in fifth. Kyle Rochelle going to get sixth. The one of Brandon Colley gets seventh. That of Jamie Dunning's going to come away with eighth. Rich Jamison ninth. And finishing out the top 10, the 27 of Jonathan Cogswell, when he was so out of shape in the first 40 laps there, Trevor, coming away 10th is not bad for the 27.
Not bad at all. Did a great job of learning from the first 40 laps of that race. Great job from Cogswell. Great job from Rich Jamison. I mean, up 20 spots from where he started. Both those drivers have great runs. A little bit of heartbreak for Steven Stimpian down there in 11th with the issue of running out of fuel. Having to come back down pit road, going a lap down, was never able to recover from that. Along with him, Brian Johnson all the way down there in 28th. With his pit road penalty that he had. Tom Sinchek with the speeding penalty went 2 laps down early on, was never able to recover as well. Sam down there in 19th. But man, what a race. Long green flag run, then the chaos with the caution under green flag pit stops, and then the exciting finish here at Texas. I don't think a lot of drivers would have predicted we would have had a finish like that, but we got a great finish. And then next week, short track racing, beating and banging at North Wilkesboro. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting to have less cautions here at Texas than they did at Daytona, especially with the way that this vehicle was feeling throughout the week and with practice. Big kudos to the drivers for keeping most of their machines in one piece. But one piece is not what we're expecting next week. North Wilkesboro short track racing, elevation changes, some drivers are learning how to run with this Gen 7 Cup machine at a short track. And it certainly should bring out some great storylines, especially with Vincent Zora, Zach Hall. I think they're both in the understanding that they both were loose, they both were out of control, and it was the 15 that came away with the victory. But how will that next week bring out some of this action? Can't wait for it, as we will have tomorrow off, but our coverage here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting ramps right back up, as Monday night, it is the ISRC Truck Series, back to coverage for them, as well as more truck racing on Tuesday for the Full Send Racing Series. We're going to get our little bit of preview for that of the Gen 7 Cup cars on Wednesdays. The Wicked Racing League is going to be racing then throw it back to some ARCA racing in that of some throwback schemes, as that of the Stars and Stripes run on Thursday night. Then we take Friday, and we're right back here Saturday, the WSSR. Cannot wait for more incredible racing action. For tonight, Trevor, any final thoughts before we get ourselves out of here?
I mean, just what a race overall. Everybody doing a great job hanging on to it as best they could. Great finish there at the end. 2 races in a row, Sam. We've had great finishes. I expect more of the same next week at Wilkesboro, and all the racing every night this week at Freaky Fest. Make sure you tune into it. You'll never know what you're going to see, and we will see you guys next week.
And for tonight, big thanks again to the incredible sponsors for the WSSR Roasted Gems Coffee. Go on over to roastedgems.com and use their promo code WSSR for a percentage off of getting your coffee. And as well, big thanks to that of Colley's Mom for sponsoring the qualifying results, and to that of Trophy Smack. all those great sponsors, and so much more great racing action on a Saturday night. Thank you for joining us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, for Robert Moyer, and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for watching on Saturday night. We'll see you Monday. That's our next coverage for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. We'll see you then.